Hello, this is Nick Riley, Program Advisor for Welding and Machine Tool Programs at Pima Community College, and this is a course registration information session for the Welding program. So, why study welding and why study welding at Pima? Almost every manufacturing industry uses welding at some point, whether it's in assembly or to repair or maintain equipment, and new technologies and techniques are coming out all the time that make welding even more useful. Pima's welding curriculum uses both lecture and hands-on training to teach a variety of processes from oxygen fuel welding and cutting to automated robotic welding. And the program is designed for new welders or for experienced welders looking to expand their skill or gain a new credential. There are 3 programs within the welding curriculum at Pima. The first is the Basic Welding Certificate, which consists of 5 classes that total 16 credits. Next, there's the Fabrication Certificate, which consists of 8 classes that total 28 credits, and these include all of the classes and credits from the Basic Welding Certificate. Finally, we have the Associate of Applied Science in Welding and Fabrication, which is 18 classes for a minimum of 61 credits, and again includes all classes from both certificates. Before we keep going with the presentation, I just want to introduce myself again. My name is Nick Riley. I'm the Program Advisor for Welding at Pima Community College. Here you'll see my email address, nriley1@pima.edu, and my phone number, 520-206-7240. Later in the presentation, I'm going to go over some ways that you can get in contact and make an appointment with me. But you also have this email address and phone number to reach out to me. Please feel free to utilize either of them. So when we're talking about what an advisor does and what the student's role is in the advising process, Pima's distilled that down into what we call an advising syllabus. As you take classes at Pima, you're going to get a syllabus for each class that's going to be a roadmap and lay out what needs to happen for you to be successful in that class, and we've done a similar thing with advising. So your role in this is to stay connected, meet regularly with me to explore programs and to explore the options within your program, and then continue to take responsibility for your education by knowing college resources and knowing any other dates or deadlines or things that you need to be aware of as a student to be successful. And then, of course, the final step is complete, which means graduate. That's personally one of my favorite parts of working with students, is helping them fill out those graduation applications, because it really shows how they've met their goals. One of the things on that syllabus was to know your resources. The greatest spot for you to have access to those resources is through your MyPima account, which you should have activated using your Pima A number, which was given to you after you were admitted to the college. This is really your hub for all things at Pima. This is where you're going to register for classes, view your financial aid, and see a lot of other student resources. One of the great resources on MyPima is called My Degree Plan. There's an example of it here on the right-hand side of the screen. My Degree Plan lists out all of the requirements needed to complete your degree, including the classes needed. And then you'll see down here some red circles that aren't filled in at all. That means that you haven't started or those requirements are incomplete. As you do things to make progress toward your degree, for example, when you enroll in a class, the red circle next to it will become a blue circle that's half filled in to let you know that you're in the process of meeting that requirement. And then once you've finished that class and hopefully gotten your grade of A, but as long as you've passed it and earned the credit in it, then the circle next to it on My Degree Plan will turn green and have a check mark in it. So My Degree Plan is one resource that Pima makes available to you, and it's a great visual way for you to be tracking your own progress towards that degree. So let's get a little more into those degrees. The Basic Welding Certificate, as I said, is 16 credits. You'll see here all of the classes listed. So GTM 105 is General Technologies Math that requires a placement or prerequisite, and I'm going to go a little later in the presentation into what those placements and prerequisites are. STU 100 is a College Success and Career Planning class. Welding 110 is our basic arc welding class. Welding 115 is the blueprint reading class. And Welding 160 is the arc welding class. Now you may notice those numbers in parentheses next to the course titles. For example, it says GTM 105 and then it has a 3 in parentheses. That number corresponds to where it says 16 credits up near the name of the certificate. each class is assigned a certain number of credits. In college, what that basically means is in a traditional semester, which usually runs either in the fall semester from the middle of August to the middle of December, or in a spring semester from mid-January through early May, is that each credit stands for basically an hour of class time during that semester per week. So when GTM 105 is saying it's 3 credits, that means you can expect to spend about 3 hours per week in the class. This doesn't include time spent out of the class studying or doing homework or working on assignments. The reason it's important to know what those college credits mean is because they can really help give you an idea when you're building your schedule of just how many classes should you take based on what's happening in your own life, whether it's work or family obligations or just needing a little downtime. Everybody needs that, even when you're in a semester of school. So you can look at that and say, this class is 4 credit hours. I can expect to spend about 4 hours a week in class, and I'll need to spend some hours outside of class reinforcing what I learned and studying. How many classes and credits can I take on in a semester? So now we're going to move on to the Fabrication Welding Certificate. Again, it includes all of the courses in the Basic Welding Certificate, and it adds 3 additional welding classes for a total of 12 units. Those classes are Welding 261, which is a gas metal arc welding class, Welding 262, which is a gas tungsten arc welding class and has a prerequisite of Welding 110, and Welding 263, which is a layout and fabrication class, which has 3 prerequisites, Welding 110, Welding 115, and GTM 105. And again, when we are done talking about the degrees, I'll go into more detail about what those prerequisites and placements are. So now we have the degree requirements for the Associate of Applied Science. It involves all of the classes on the previous slide for the 2 certificates, and then it adds some general education courses as well as some additional core and support courses. The general education courses that it adds are GTW 101, which is essentially a Writing 101 or English 101 class that's been specifically developed to give you what you need for writing in the trade and technical occupations. It does require a placement test or prerequisite. You have an Arts and Humanities requirement. That's 1 3-credit class from Pima's Arts and Humanities list that you'll need to take. You can see an advisor for help on selecting that course, and you'll also be able, when you're doing the course search, to pick courses with that attribute. And similar to that, you need 1 3-credit course from Pima's Social and Behavioral Sciences list. And then the last class here under General Education is Communications 120, which is a Business and Professional Communications class. It's a really great class for getting you some tools and strategies for communicating in the new field that you may be working on with your degree. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see additional core and support classes. These classes are usually a little more interesting to our welding students because they're more of the hands-on learning. So we have MAC 275. MAC means that it's one of our machine tool classes, and it's an applied metallurgy class with a prerequisite of GTM 105. Welding 250 is our pipe welding class, which has a prerequisite of Welding 160. CAD 101, CAD means computer-aided drafting. And that's a class that you'll take to have an introduction into computer-aided drafting and sort of how it can intersect with welding. And then you need technical electives, at least 9 credits. Usually that's going to come out to about 3 classes. Your technical electives you can select from a set of certain types of classes. So you'll notice there you can select from more CAD classes. So if you take that CAD 101 class and you really enjoy it, you could take more classes in it to fill your technical electives. Similarly, if you take that MAC 275 course, the Applied Metallurgy, and you really like machine tool, you could take some more machine tool classes to meet that requirement. You'll also see BCT there. Those are our building and construction classes, as well as management classes, that MGT, and CSA is computer science classes. You need a minimum of 9 credits, which is typically going to work out to about 3 classes, but here again is somewhere where you want to work with your advisor. A lot of BCT and welding classes you're seeing on your screen right now are 4 credits. So if you take 2 4-credit classes, you'll only be at 8 units, so you may need a third one. That'll put you at 12 above that 9 of minimum. It's always fine to go above that minimum 9. Or you may want to meet with your advisor and say, hey, my work change this semester, and I don't know if I can take on another 4-credit class. I've already got these 8 electives. Is there anything that's less credits that I could take that would still meet that elective requirement and get me up to 9? And we can see if there's maybe some 1-credit computer science classes that would meet in that category. So that's the kind of discussion that you want to be having with me, with your program advisor, so that I can help you plan to meet your goals and your time frame and what you've got going on in your life that you're trying to merge in with completing your degree. This is an example I wanted to show you. What this is a layout semester by semester of what you would take as a welding student in the Associate of Applied Science in an ideal world where you're able to be full-time and you're able to register in time, where none of the classes are full. And Pima's offering everything at a time that works for your schedule. So that does happen, and this is a schedule that some students are able to do, but not all of them, and that's okay. You may be part-time because you're working, or a class may fill up before you got a chance to register for it. That's why you want to meet with me, and we'll develop a plan to put you in classes every semester that are meeting requirements for your degree and your life. Okay, I said I'd get back to prerequisites and placements, and here it is. So a prerequisite is a course that you need to take before taking another course. So, for example, when I said Welding 160 has a prerequisite of Welding 110, that means you need to be taking Welding 110 before you're taking Welding 160. I also said that this program at Pima for welding was designed for experienced welders as well as newcomers to the profession. If you have a significant amount of experience in welding, you'll want to talk to me, and more importantly, we'll go and we'll ask the instructor. So for example, for 160, we can ask the instructor to see if they're willing to waive the prerequisite and let you either take Welding 110 at the same time or let you take Welding 110 after you've taken Welding 160. That's not going to happen in every case, but it is something that you want to look into. The example that's given on your screen here is that ICS 081 is a prerequisite for GTM 105, and that can be true, but what that's based on is your placement test. So for placement, the most common way to have a placement is to take an exam in a subject. Placements are required for math and writing classes. You would take a placement exam, which is just a snapshot in time to see where your skill level is in the subject and what class you should start off in your study of that subject to be successful. If you place and you get a score that's just a little lower than the score needed to go straight into GTM 105, then that ICS 081 class would become a prerequisite, because based on your placement score, you need to take that class before you can move on to GTM 105. Or it's possible that you get a score that places you where you can start right in GTM 105, or you could even take a higher math class. In that case, you wouldn't have that course prerequisite because of your placement score. As I said, the most common way to have a placement is to take that placement exam, but there are some other ways, including prior coursework that you have that may even be from another institution, or even if you're a very recent high school graduate and you had a high enough GPA, we may be able to use that. So I recommend reaching out to me to look at your options. And then there's also the Placement Center. I've included the link to their website here in this presentation. They can give you even more information about what's available to you with regards to taking your placement exams. Okay, so as you're going through the class registration, you're going to see these search results, and so what I want to do now is just go through. You'll see the numbers pointing to a particular item on there. I want to go through what each of those is with you so you can read this just a little bit better. It can be a little less clear to students who are new to Pima, or if this is your first semester registering. So first of all, you'll see number 1 points to CRN. A CRN is a unique identifying number for a class in a semester. For example, the screenshot here is for Writing 101. There are many Writing 101 classes offered at Pima each semester. The CRN helps you to know exactly which one you want to take. And then if we go on to number 2, it's pointing down to meeting days and times. So you'll see days of the week there, Tuesday and Thursday. You'll also see the dates that the class meets. That's important. The traditional semester for fall, for example, runs from August 19th to December 14th. In that, however, there may be classes that are only 8 weeks long, so they start in August, but they end in October, or they start in October and then end with the rest of the semester in December. There are also some classes that are a little bit of a delayed start. They may start a week or two later. So you'll want to be paying attention to those meeting dates. And then the final thing there in that block is the times of days that it meets. You'll notice when a class is only 8 weeks, it either meets on more days or it meets for longer stretches of time. And again, that relates to the number of credits the course is. So if it's a 3-credit course, and we would normally expect 3 hours a week in the class spread out over 16 weeks, but if you're taking that course in an 8-week format, then you can expect to spend closer to 6 hours a week in the class. So just be aware when you're registering that those classes that operate on a different than the traditional semester time frame can be a great way to get your credits done, but they may increase the workload or at least decrease the time that you have to get that workload done in. Next, 3 points to modalities. You'll see in person. That's very traditional. You show up to the class on campus at the times listed. You may also see virtual, which you're still showing up to a class at the times listed, but the class is happening virtually over Zoom, so you need a computer with the ability to have video and audio to participate in the class. You may see hybrid, which is essentially a mix between the two of those, where some class meetings are in person at campus, others are virtual, and your instructor will be communicating with you which are which and where you need to be. They'll always be happening, though, at those same days and times listed. And then online, which is where you don't have a set meeting time or time that you have to be working on the course, but they're not self-paced because there are still due dates and deadlines within the course that you need to be meeting. It's just that you can be working at 2 a.m. to meet that deadline or 2 in the afternoon to meet that deadline, whatever works for your schedule. Number 4 points to status. If it says open, that means there are seats available in the class. However, if the class has a prerequisite that you haven't met yet, you may not necessarily be able to enroll in it. Number 5 goes to seats available. It's going to tell you how many seats are available. One thing that I like to tell students about when you're looking at that, for example, the example here says 22 of the 22 seats are still available. That means that if you're thinking of what you're going to enroll in and you want to spend a little time thinking about it, you've probably got a little time to do that. When you start seeing classes that say 1 of 22 seats available, then you know that the class is filling up quick and you want to be registering soon to get that seat if that's a class that you want. When the class fills, this may change to saying waitlist instead. What a waitlist is it's a list of students who were not able to get a seat in the class because the class filled up, but that are waiting to see if another student that is in the class drops or if a seat becomes available, and then they'll get a notification that a seat's available, and you can take that seat or say no and it'll move on to the next person on the wait list. Number 6 is approval needed or additional fees. This is going to tell you if it's a class that requires instructor approval to take no matter what, prerequisite or no, and that's a good thing to know so that we can work on getting that approval for you as you're building your schedule. And then we've mentioned prerequisites a lot. A co-requisite is a lot like a prerequisite, only it's a class you have to take during the same semester that you're taking another class, and you can see what those prerequisites are by clicking on that info button up there next to the course. So hopefully that gave you a good idea of what to look for. Now I'm going to play this short video that you can watch to show you how to get to that screen that I just explained to you. This is going to show you how to register. So I'm going to play this and then we'll continue the presentation.
Search for and register for classes, log into your MyPima. Go to Students and Register and Pay. To search for classes, click on Online Class Schedule and scroll down. Make sure you have the correct term and location. For Fall 2020, most classes will either be virtual or online. You can scroll or type in your code. For this example, we'll be doing STU 100. There are additional search criteria you can use to narrow down your search, and click Search. Scroll down to find a class that meets during a day and time that is interesting to you. Please note you will need the CRN number to register for the class, so please write it down. Notice the day, the dates, and the time. If your class is showing as virtual, it means you will be meeting with your professor and other students at that time virtually. If the class is listed as online, it is asynchronous and you will not need to meet at specific times. Make sure the class is open and that there are seats available. Come back to your MyPima and click on New Registration System and register for classes. Make sure your semester is correct and continue. There is a search function within this system, but is not as robust as the one we just showed you, so it is not recommended. Click on Enter CRNs. Enter the CRNs that you have written down and add to summary. You will see the course populate in the lower right-hand corner. When you have listed all of your courses, select Submit to register for the course, and you will see a status here. If there are any errors, you will see these here. If you want to drop a course, follow the directions, come to this list, select Drop, and Submit. You'll see the status is dropped.
All right, this is Nick again. Hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of reprieve from having to listen to my voice. So now I'm just going to go over some items to think about after you register. Number one, after you register, you'll want to go into MyPima, into your Academics tab, so that you can view your schedule, make sure everything there looks correct, and also look at your book list. You'll also want to make sure that you're meeting your tuition payment deadlines. If you're using financial aid, you can go to the financial aid tab on MyPima, or if you have veterans benefits, you can go to the veterans tab to see that your aid is in order and reach out to those departments or me, and I can get you contacts in those departments if needed. If you're paying out of pocket, you're going to want to use the Register and Pay tab, go to your My Account Manager, and make a payment in time. If you register for classes and don't pay, there's a possibility of you being dropped from the classes for non-payment. If you need some time before you can pay for it in full, you can reach out to the Student Accounts Office at Pima and they can help get you on a payment plan to break that up into some more easy to digest chunks. Always remember to be checking your MyPima email for important PCC information. One example I like to give of this is we talked about hybrid classes, and I said your instructor would let you know whether you were meeting virtually or in person. One of the ways they might let you know that is by emailing your Pima email, so that you can see where that's a really important thing to have. And also, your advisor may send you information to your Pima email, and I'm biased. I think that's going to be awfully important information to you too. You can find more video tutorials like the one we just watched by going to our Navigating Digital Spaces tab on the PCC website. There's a lot of great resources there for you. You'll also want to make sure that you're checking the drop and withdrawal deadlines. Each semester has different deadlines. A drop either needs to be done before the class starts or very soon after it starts. The deadline's usually about a week or so, and that's essentially going to make it as though you never took the class. A withdrawal, the deadline goes much further into the semester, but it has much more of an effect. You will get a grade of W that'll be on your official transcript. While that W grade doesn't calculate into your GPA, it does calculate into your completion rate. And especially for our students that are utilizing financial aid to pay for classes, that completion rate is very important to maintaining your aid. Okay, so I just want to take a minute to give you a few important reminders about your responsibilities as a student and my responsibilities as an advisor. So you're doing things like listening to this presentation. We've presented you with resources in it. That's a part of your responsibilities to become knowledgeable yourself about college programs and policies and things like deadlines. You also want to clarify your personal values and goals, and by that I mean this is your education. You get to decide what your goals are, what your end goal is, and an advisor's job is to help you plan for that, plan to meet that goal while meeting Pima's requirements. Keep personal records of your progress. I always like to mention here that it's a good idea to keep those syllabuses for all of your classes for reference. Sometimes employers or another school that you might go to for something will want to see those. Come to any appointment with your advisor ready with questions or materials to discuss. Enroll in courses that you and your advisor agree to. That doesn't mean enrolling just in courses that your advisor tells you to, but that your advisor and you agree to based on your goals and the requirements of your degree. And then advisor responsibilities. It's my job to provide some of that information that we expect you to know to you in a timely manner so that you can utilize it to be successful. It's my job to help you create an educational plan that aligns with your goals and interests and the requirements of the degree at Pima. It's my job to help you with decision making and to give you some tools for making your decisions about your plan of study. And it's also my job to be there for you and to listen and to encourage you during challenging times. There will likely be challenging times for you during this program, and there are supposed to be. Education is about learning and growth, and anytime you're growing, you can expect there to be some challenge. Alright, one more video, one more break from hearing the sound of my voice that you're going to get. This video is going to tell you how to make an appointment with me on PimaConnect. PimaConnect is a great tool that, as you'll see, will allow you to access my calendar, pick a spot, and have your appointment with me, and we'll both be able to see it and know when that appointment is. If ever you log into PimaConnect and you don't see my name or the system's not working, please feel free to still use that email and phone number that I provided at the beginning of this presentation to reach out to me. But PimaConnect is really a great, easy tool.
Hey Aztecs! Congratulations! You're more than halfway through the semester. At this point, you're probably asking questions like, what classes do I need for next semester? How and when can I register? Who can I talk to about my program? When can I graduate? How do I ask for help? To make things easier for you, we present, wait for it, Pima Connection. This powerful tool will allow you to schedule an appointment with me, receive important updates and advising notes, communicate with your success network, connect with other college resources. Go to My Pima, click Students, then Academics, then Pima Connection, and get started. Don't miss out. Visit Pima Connection now.
Created using Powtoon.
Alright, that was the presentation. I hope it gave you some good information. Again, feel free to reach out to me because our goal is exactly what's on this slide, to help you graduate so that you can move on to the next goals you have in life, in your career, or whatever the reasons are that are motivating you to get this welding degree. Thank you again for listening, and I look forward to working with each of you.